So for those who are still here, if anybody has questions or needs to discuss anything, we are now available to talk for a little bit.
I have a general one.
Sure.
And it's about Python. I downloaded Python to my PC, and I like to have codes and even the CC3D working first on my PC before the Nano Hub, although you recommended the Nano Hub. And that would be my second step. Now, every time, and it's for over a year, that I take a code from somewhere that's supposed to be working. I write import, doesn't recognize, rejected. Function, not recognized. Variable name error, and also syntax errors that I'll take care of somehow. So what do I do?
So there's a couple possibilities here. One is if you have installed, depending on how you've installed Python, sometimes people have two different Pythons on their computer, and when they're installing packages, it goes to one Python, and when they're running it inside their IDE, inside their code editor, it's accessing a different Python. So then it doesn't have access to those modules that you've installed. I can send you the instructions I give to my class about using VS Code Editor and installing Python in that. And I think those are relatively error-proof. And then so if you can install it that way, and then if you can recreate an error and email it to me, then I can kind of troubleshoot that way, troubleshoot with that.
That's lovely. And I don't know what is VS Code Editor, but I'll look it up and erase.
Yeah, so it has the installation instructions for that.
Yeah, and I'll erase all the previous downloaded all kinds of Pythons that probably are confusing each other and me as well. Thank you so much. Now, do you have my email?
So I will send links to, yeah, I have it in the responses from the, so I'll send these now.
But yes, it is a problem with Python sometimes that you can have incompatible versions or incompatible libraries. And because packages depend on other packages, you can have a situation where updating one package breaks another one. So it does happen.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of small changes here and there. Like one of the big ones between Python 2 and Python 3 was they changed the print statement. So in Python 2, print did not require parentheses around what you were printing. And in Python 3, it does. So if you're getting code from Python 2 and running it in Python 3, things like that, you have to be careful of because every print statement now has to be updated. So there's all kinds of little stuff.
Okay, that's great. I have another question, which is more complicated. Since you used coordinates in one or more examples, that means that I can handle projections and embedding in different manifolds and then project back to the higher dimension or lower dimension manifold. It looks to me like because you define the coordinates so well, I can do that too. I can write something like that. Is that making sense?
Yeah, you can, but there are also libraries that help with, and James may know more about it than I do, for dealing with some of those topologies. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah, so there may be some libraries that already have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
there may be some
wonderful.
libraries that it makes sense to use, but if not, you can always define them in ways that make sense to you.
Okay, great.
Any other questions or comments for today? That we have the schedule for tomorrow, I think, is the next thing.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll be getting into our basics of CompuCell3D, an introduction and overview, an intro to the cellular POTS model, which is the model basically running underneath CompuCell. The extra session tomorrow will be some examples presented by James of various models that have been built and published using CompuCell. Talk a little bit about how to control and modify cell shapes, as well as their properties and behaviors in the afternoon. So we'll be in for another long day, but tomorrow will be our first official day of learning CompuCell.
And if people want to do a hackathon presentation, it's important that you contact us so we can get that set up.
Yeah, so you can contact me here at hfennell@iu.edu. I'll put my email in the chat. And if you would like to present a hackathon presentation, we will have some time for that, starting on Wednesday, potentially Tuesday. So yeah, let me know, and I will add you to the list of people to make sure that we make time for presentations.
And I think we all should thank Bobby for doing the entire day today. That's quite a load to do all four lectures. The rest of the week we have them divided up among multiple people, but Bobby took the whole day. Okay.
We need a round of applause sound effect to play in Zoom.
Okay, well, if there are any other questions, you don't have to ask now. If you want, you're welcome. Otherwise, by email or in the Slack. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for coming today.